Welcome to ldsbookreviews.com, and my name is Ryan Daly. Today we are going to do Parley P. Pratt's A Voice of Warning. Guys, I'm going to give this, I almost want to give it 4 stars, but I'm going to have to back it off to just 3 stars. This is a personal favorite of mine. I don't think that everyone needs to read it, but it's really, really neat. A Voice of Warning by Parley P. Pratt, originally published in 1837. Okay, this is the first real apologetic work on the church, using reason and logic as well as Bible verses to defend the rise or the restoration of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, defending a prophet and all of that good stuff, as well as the Book of Mormon. This became a pamphlet and a modes and means by which people join the church in and of itself. Its publication spread over the Eastern Board, as well as would be used for decades. Decades. This thing was continued to be published all the way in Salt Lake City, 40 to 50 years, and used regularly after Parley's death in the late 50s, 1850s. Okay? There are numerous printings, numerous editions. Just it's a keystone to the restoration. And one thing that often goes unnoticed is the Pratt brothers, Parley as well as Orson's significant contribution to LDS theology. Significant contribution. I would almost say that second to Joseph Smith, the Pratt brothers had more significance in our understanding as well as our interpretation of the gospel than most would believe. Just unbelievable. So this was not only such a significant piece of work, but there were a number of meetings with Joseph Smith and the Quorum of the 12, where Quorum of the 12 members actually proposed that this could be canon. And Joseph didn't fight it. He actually found great joy in making sure that Parley could have a voice, and it ultimately wasn't canonized. Primarily because of discussion within the same meeting that would happen, where it was like not necessarily the voice of the Lord, but oftentimes this became a companion to those who went out and did proselyting work. This is the first, like, this is how you are gonna, this is the first, this is how we would resolve the need for prophecy today. Why do we need a prophet today? Things like that. I highly recommend reading this book. It's one of my favorites. It really gives insight into the way that the early thinkers, early members of the church thought about the restoration of the gospel. They're all functional and meaningful today. We still use the same arguments in this book in almost every single missionary discussion that we have. Absolutely a fantastic read. You can find these. This is obviously kind of a print on demand printing. You can find these for a couple of bucks anywhere. 1 million copies have been produced, sold. You can find them on eBay. You can find them at Deseret Industries. You can get cheap copies for new for a couple of bucks. They're print on demand as well. So, again, A Voice of Warning by Parley P. Pratt. If you haven't read it, I'd recommend reading it. It's a really neat read. I'm going to give it 3 stars. And it should be kind of included in your library. If you're a missionary or about to go out, one of the best recommendations that I was given, I remember I walked up to another author, Hiram Andrus at the time. He's passed since. But I said, Hiram, I'm about to go on my mission. What would you recommend I read before I go? And he gave me Teachings of the Prophet Joseph Smith as the number 1. And number 2, he said, anything by the Pratt brothers. And he said, start with A Voice of Warning, move on to Keys to the Science to the Theology, and then anything by Orson Pratt. And I did. I read this book before I went on my mission, and it actually significantly helped me. So if you got a missionary, pick it up, let them read it. Great context. And thank you for watching ldsbookreviews.com.